Taylor, are you here for Leaders Lead the podcast? Let's go. Hey, how did you beat me? Look, let me tell you about this podcast. We got like 5 seconds. Leaders Lead the podcast is about leadership. Not just the leader without, but the leader within. All of these leaders that I'm talking to across the country, well, across the world now, they have one thing in common, and that's that they have overcome some insurmountable obstacles to get to where they're at today. Come on, let's go. Oh man, I never get tired of watching the introduction because I always feel like we're going and we're traveling into another space and time, right? So it just puts you in that mode. So welcome to Leaders Lead the podcast. We're streaming on all your major networks. I'm super excited. Today, I'm excited for a bunch of different reasons. I'm looking at the charts and it looks like we are about to crack the single digits as far as where we're ranking at on the podcast. I don't care about the vanity metrics or anything like that, but for me, that's the way that we're measuring our success. So I want to say thank you to everybody that watches the show, everybody that listens to the show. I love receiving all the different comments and the feedback. The feedback has been amazing. One of our guests said, "Hey, Tony, do me a big favor. Move away from the mic a little bit." So I adjusted the mic. Like, this is a community. My mentor says that there is unity in community, and I believe that. So join me in welcoming Corina Burton. She is the co-founder and owner of CPR Construction Cleaning Company. She's a motivational speaker. And I just, man, when I look at her content, it's one of the few people content that I look at. And I feel her being vulnerable, right? I hear her talking about the trials and tribulations that she's had to get to the point that she's at today. And that's what we're all about in this show. We could easily bring people on and we could talk about all the amazing things that they've done and talk about how great their life is. But what about the struggles? What about the adversity? I'm super excited. Welcome to the show, Corina. How you doing?
Hi, thank you, Tony. I appreciate being on the show and chatting with you. Like you, I am a huge admirer of yours and what you've accomplished and how you inspire. Hashtag love your shirt.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
I definitely need one. I need a shirt that says that for sure.
All right. I love it.
Check.
That's funny. I did a post on LinkedIn that I didn't think anybody saw, but I was talking about me getting up and putting on this shirt. I believe in seeing things that you want to be and doing the things that you want. So that's why I wear that shirt. And it's been quite a few people that have asked me for one. So you're on the list. I'm going to make sure that you send one. And awesome. Thank you for your kind words. I was looking at your bio and I was doing some research on you, as I love to do, because not because I'm weird, but I just love people. And I think that, we're interested. And one thing that I thought that was interesting about you were that you're dominating in construction. You're dominating construction and construction, because I was in construction before and I know and I see it, pretty much being a male dominated sport. What is a sport?
Industry.
Male-dominated industry, right? How was that?
It's interesting because I have been in this space for probably, I want to say 20 years. I personally wasn't working in the space for the first 10 years in my 20s. But with my dad being in the farming and irrigation, and then my first husband was in the construction industry, it was just really familiar for me to be around industries that were very male dominating, right? Where at least with my dad, he never made me feel like I couldn't do something just because I was a female. Just because this was a male-dominated industry and being in farming and irrigation, which is very much male-dominated. And so it never felt weird for me. It felt like a very natural thing. So 10 years ago, when I decided to put my career in the construction industry and commercial real estate and construction, I never felt like I didn't belong, but I always recognized that there was going to be difficulties along the way. And it really was going to determine how I was going to allow it to affect me and define me. And also, my desire to stay in the industry. And from how things were 10 years ago to today, I mean, there's such a huge, significant change. So I'm just somebody who really enjoys I like the challenge. If it's not challenging, I don't know. Somebody actually teased me because I had announced something coming up, and they're like, as if you have enough stuff on your plate. And I go, it's true. I don't know why I do this to myself, but if it's a challenge, bring it on. Like, I'm ready to tackle it.
I love it. So is this like you announced it to the world? Are we getting ready to get an exclusive on Leaders Lead or?
Well, I mean, of course, I would love to share, but I feel bad. I don't want to, to rain on the parade, so to speak.
No,
I just
love it.
that, my life has this consistency. It's, let's have kids at the age of 19, 20, have a family, do all the things backwards. And I'm like, sure, let's do that. Let's make it more challenging in life. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it just so happens that I have this tendency, or life has led me to always have my circumstances a bit more challenging and a bit more difficult. And that's why, for me, I constantly am preaching, your circumstances do not define you. They do not define your future. They do not define who you're going to be. It's your choices and how you're going to get there, right? So,
no, that's amazing. I love that you said that. Your circumstances don't define you. Hey, I would imagine when you first started your company, it was pretty challenging. And I'm asking you this for our newer entrepreneurs. What would you say was the most challenging thing that you had to go through in starting your business?
Well, I'm going to start by prefacing that CPR construction cleaning is extremely successful and it's thriving and we're doing amazing. But
I love that you said that.
I have started this journey 10 years ago, right? So my company is only 2 years old, but my entrepreneurism started 10 years ago. I have had 2 failed entrepreneur attempts where one was really a little bit painful. I had the experience where I partnered with too many cooks in the kitchen. It wasn't working out. And I decided to call my losses, part ways, and move on. The second attempt that I had with a partnership, it was not that easy. I had to go through a lot of loss. I had to go through a lot of pain, and I suffered a lot of emotional trauma and also financial. It broke me to a point where most people would have just called it quits and been like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I give up. Really, my business partner at the time, who asked for me to become his business partner, he did not align with me in any way, right? I'm somebody with integrity. I'm somebody who is honest and authentic and trustworthy. And I didn't find all of these things out until after I had already partnered, which then ended up depleting me. It depleted me emotionally. It brought me down to my lowest point in my life. And if anyone knows my journey at all, you would think, wow, being a single parent at 28, literally being on welfare, having no education, having no real work experience, you would think that was my lowest point. But no, this point in my life, after 8 years of working and grinding and trying to get myself to a point where I want to be, where I know that my abilities could be, that was my lowest point. And I had to make a decision at that point to walk away from everything and say, I cut my losses. And that was extremely painful. And so when I did that, I just decided to kind of go into this autopilot mode and think, okay, I'm just going to get a job that helps sustain my family. And so I don't lose everything, because I'm literally at this point where I'm losing my vehicles. I'm about to lose my house. And 2 months after I had cut my losses, I came up with this idea. I'm like, I go to who now my business partner is. We go to lunch and I said, I think I have our business idea. Him and I have known each other for years, and we've always tossed the idea back and forth about starting a business together. And I said, what do you know about construction cleaning? Because he's been in the facility maintenance industry for the past 17 plus years. And he's like, actually, I know quite a bit. I have experience. And then, that's what really started getting the ball rolling. And if I would have let my first failure define me, if I would have let my second failure to the point where I was losing all the things around me and my sanity, I would have never come up with the company that we have today, that is a multi-million-dollar business that is thriving during the pandemic, during COVID. And so the one thing I will say to any entrepreneur is, if you want it bad enough, if you fail the first time, if you fail the second time, what did I say? And in this, your circumstances do not define you. That failure does not define whether or not you are supposed to become an entrepreneur. Yes. It is your choices and how you then figure out how are you going to achieve what you want, right? And I know that life has set me up in this way of teaching me all of these things so that when I did have and am having that success story that makes it look like, shit, Corina just got it like in the bag. If you didn't know my past history, CPR construction cleaning would really make it look very easy. And the entire journey prior to that has been blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of financial loss, and a person who never, ever, ever gave up, refused to give up, and continued, persevering through that desire of wanting to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah. What is it is that allows you the ability to not give up? Because, man, I get messages from a lot of people and they're saying, they always tell me, I see you say don't give up, but like, I need a little extra. And I always go back and I'm just like, okay, in this circumstance, I pull this out and I pull that out. I pull that out. What is it that you had to pull out from you in order to keep going?
So I think that everyone has their own, what's the word I'm looking for? Not story, but something that has impacted their life and that continues to impact their life, right? And that's what kind of drives people. And for me, it's my kids. For me, my children, when I look at them, to me, that is a no, you cannot fail zone, right? Like I don't have room for failure because I must succeed for them. I must be successful to achieve all of these goals, not to just give them this financial and monetary opportunity and generational wealth, but to achieve what I seeked out 10 years ago when I became a single parent. I said, I refuse to be a parent who tells their children, you can achieve everything you want, but not be the parent who's doing that very thing. I cannot be a parent who is hypocritical. I need to be a parent who walks and leads by example. And so that's the other thing that motivates me, is to be that type of parent. And if I've sacrificed everything and I've done all of these things to be this type of parent, I can't just give up now. I can't give up midway when I'm saying I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm financially depleted. I've got to figure out another way, because there's always going to be an answer. There will always be an answer. You just have to find it and you have to want it bad enough.
I'm so inspired by you right now. Like I'm sitting here and I'm just like, yes, yes, I can see the way that you tell the story and the way that you know, the bag that you got to go into. It inspires me. I can literally see you working, having these kids and just working your butt off because, like you said, the key word was I must. You didn't say I should. It's I must. Like that sounds like discipline. You're a very disciplined person, I'm guessing.
It's interesting. Yes, I am, but I also
question?
over the years I learned to not shame myself for feeling the frustration and the anger. So if something's not working out, let's just, for example, 2 days ago, my family has been, sick with the COVID and we have had a very rough week, like super, super rough. And
I'm sorry to hear that.
no, it's, you know what? Everyone's doing really, really well, but it was more like rough, like emotionally, right? Because we're stuck in the house. The kids need all this stuff from me. I have 4 kids and my husband's, down too. And I'm like, normally in the past, when I would start to feel all of these feelings of like, I'm not doing enough, I've fallen behind in my career, I'm not executing, I'm not hitting my goals, like I would literally shame myself and make myself like, you got to do it more, you got to do it faster, you got to do it better, you got to work harder. All of these things that were just this negative feelings. And over the years, I learned to tell myself, you know what? You can cry about it for an hour. And then once you're done crying about it, you're going to get your shit together. You're going to pull up your big girl pants and you're going to get moving forward. And so when I realized instead of suppressing those moments of feeling sad and down, I allow myself to kind of go through those emotions and then they're gone. They don't hinder me. And I think that for me is my discipline, is that I honor my feelings just for a small amount of time. I let them go through me and out, and I let them leave, and then they don't hinder me. And then I start becoming someone full of inspiration and I creativity and what are my next things that I want to do. And I'm filled with excitement instead of feeling like I have to. It's I get to. These are the things I get to do, and I'm so excited about it.
Oh man, what books do you read? You read books, right?
I do, yes. Yeah. I also love audio too, audiobooks. But
yeah, me too. I don't read books. That's why I asked you that. I listen to them like all day, every day. I think most I listen to is like 2 books in a day. I absolutely love it, and I think that that's important with being an entrepreneur, important with being a parent. And leadership at work. I'm just curious, what are some of your books that you've felt like helped you along this journey?
Well, that's actually a really good question because I am somebody who since we creative people have these creative minds and we're constantly like squirrel, like that's how my brain works. And so I'm very much like, I'll read books and I'm like skimming through and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so good. It's just like listening to, podcasts. Like for me, I'm listening, I write down all the inspirational things. I highlight books like crazy. So I kind of go through like a variation of different books. I don't like hone in on one, but I will say that there are some spiritual like YouTube videos that I really love to listen to. And I don't know why. I'm just having a huge brain cloud, but I can't remember what is the name of this YouTube channel that I always am listening to, but it is more religious. I'm not necessarily a religious person, but I am definitely a very spiritual person. And those are the things that like when I'm feeling stuck, when I'm feeling sad, when I'm feeling like I need to be more grateful, I will listen to these YouTube videos and I cannot even begin to describe the inspiration that I constantly get and feeding. I am reading a book right now. The thing I love doing is reading other people's books, who are also very successful entrepreneurs and have written books. And so they're not people who, maybe you've never heard their name, but they're also running a $200 million company and, are your neighbors, right? Like those types of people. I love reading their books because I love to know like what inspired them? How did they become these successful entrepreneurs themselves? So books like that, because I feel like I can relate, right? So much more to another person instead of like, I love Sarah Blakely is one of my favorite entrepreneurs, but I feel like she's so far like out into this world that I'm like trying to achieve. So when I'm able to read and relate to someone that I can just go and have lunch with tomorrow, I find a lot of inspiration from books like that because I feel like we are the same, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's interesting that you say that because I got a couple books that I've read. My friend Summer Watson has a book, really good book. Rob Bell, my friend, has a book on mental toughness that's pretty cool. And I pulled it out. And I think it's really cool with reading something and then being able to text the author and say, dude, what were you thinking when this happened? Or where were you going when this happened? You left this out of the book. I think that's phenomenal. But I draw a lot of inspiration from YouTube videos and a lot of religious videos as well. Even though I'm not very religious, I would consider myself to be spiritual. But it's something about the music. It's something about the way that they talk that just it's just like healing.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My daughter was making fun of me. She's like, "What are you in here listening to church music and church stuff?" And I'm like, "You're not that religion." And I'm like, I'm not separate from none of it. I love it all. I love everybody. I was meaning to ask you because somebody that's a busy entrepreneur like yourself, how important is mental health, and is that a practice that you've added to the things that you do?
So mental health for me is actually number one, right? For me, I wouldn't be the person that I am today or have the capability of achieving what I've achieved if I didn't start from day one working on my mental health, right? And that's one of the things as an entrepreneur. And when people ask me, how did you become successful? And I always say, I got my mindset aligned first. I utilize it as a foundation. And the more that I do read books or learn about people of greatness, people of success, people who have created these multi-million and billion-dollar companies, their number one thing they say is mindset. Mindset is the pivoting factor of your ultimate success, of what you can ultimately achieve. And this is how I describe it is you can be successful, right? And really not have maybe things are kind of going easy for you or good and all the things are falling into alignment. But as soon as because life will come and get you and kind of knock you over and tossle you around a bit. I use this as my description is if you've worked on your mindset and it's something that you're working on daily because it's something you have to do every single day. When those moments come, you've created a foundation of brick, of stone. You're unmovable. You're still going to feel the winds and the rains and the turbulence from how life can sometimes shake us, but your foundation will never move. If you don't have that foundation created, when the storms come, your foundation is built upon a sand. So the sand, when storms come, what happens? It washes away.
Okay.
You won't be able to, sustain and be able to overcome. You will just crumble from underneath. And that's where you see people who, have done well, but then they get hit with with tragedy or difficulties or loss, or life really hits a pendulum and you have to say, how am I going to pivot? And if you're not mentally prepared on that mindset of being like, I cannot fail. I am able to learn every day on how to become a better person, how to be my best self, even during this hard time. From what I've seen and from my own example of how I've lived my life and my success, I don't believe that you can achieve your greatest potential if you don't have your mindset aligned.
Wow. Wow. Does your employees, man, I bet you they get a good treat when y'all have y'all's holiday parties and they hear you speak, man. I'm so inspired by you. I'm pretty sure this carries over into the workplace as far as, the talks of mindset and mental health and just being so, oh my God, like inspirational. Like, does this carry over into the workplace?
I would hope so. I hope my employees feel that way. From what I've gathered, yes, they do appreciate me, but I appreciate them. That's the thing is,
I love it.
It's always a two-way street. It's not just, my success, it's our success together. My business partner, our employees, our team, everyone that believes in this dream is not my dream, it's our dream. And, for my team, especially those who work very closely with me, it is very important that they also are working on, and this is one thing, especially with the gal who works as my brand strategist, and I'm sure she'll be watching this. So Jennifer, I love you. You're amazing.
I hope we fit your expectations, Jennifer, with the brand. I hope we're doing good, right?
Yeah, right.
All right.
But she's always, working on herself and bettering herself through mindset. And the beautiful thing is that when we have conversations about, creating this brand, right? It's a very authentic brand. This isn't a brand to sell people. This is a brand to help people. And so we're always having these discussions. And I love working with people who are open to growing and changing and evolving, because that's how I feel like I am as a person. Although I feel like I've learned and I've grown a lot, I still feel like it never stops. Being an entrepreneur, all these different things are always constantly happening. And I'm just, like learning something new. And so if I was to think, oh, well, I've been through X, Y, and Z, I know everything, then shame on me. And so I love that my team, though, has the same attitude and wants to continue to learn and how to better themselves as well. So we do it together.
Oh, I love that. That's dope. That is so good. You actually have a book, right?
I do. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Where can the viewers and listeners find that book? Can you tell us a little bit about it? Because I am going to get it. I apologize. I wanted to get it sooner, but I'm definitely going to get it now.
Well, I'm so excited because we had a little bit of a struggle with the supplies. I guess everything is shortage right now. So just to get it published just to get it published was a feat. It was a feat. And my team was working on it diligently. So I'm so excited now. You can order it and it's going to be shipped straight to you. But for right now, it is you can only purchase it on my website, which is corinaburton.com. And my book is called The 21-Day Alignment Challenge. So it's more like a workbook, but it does have opportunities for, inspirational quotes throughout the book, but it's really a workbook. It's 21 days to build a habit, right? And it's all about aligning your mindset. And what it's meant to do is to really take a vulnerable look at yourself and see who you are. How do you look at fear? How do you look at failure? how do you look at yourself? Do you look at yourself in positivity and light? And if you can really be authentic and strip down the walls and answer these questions with genuineness, you're really going to see how you look at yourself and how you need to start working towards your mindset. And this is the very first volume. So there's going to be multiple volumes throughout the next several months or next couple of years, depending on how crazy busy. But we also have published I don't know if you like manifestation journals. Do you use them, Tony? Manifestation journals?
You know what? I don't, but I wish I did, because I can tell you some stuff about manifestation that you would not believe. If you got time.
I'm a huge manifestation believer. I believe in it 100 billion%. Obviously, I don't believe that you just write it down on a piece of paper and then poof, it happens. Like, you've got to put in the work and the effort. But with this 21-day alignment challenge, we also created it's a business manifestation journal. So it's really 100% geared towards your business goals and what you want to manifest. If you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to level up in your career, whatever your goals are, this is 100% focusing on that, right? Because when you get a manifestation journal, it's really encompassing everything. It's where I want to live, where I want to vacation, what do you want to, buy? So it's so generic. And we decided to make a business manifestation journal, and I have yet to find one. And so I'm so excited because I love it. It's really convenient and it really works. When you write your goals and the things that you want, I don't know how anybody survives without doing that. It's like my number one tool in life.
Yeah, it is a game changer. Just writing that stuff down. I know I actually found a workbook for, have you read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill?
Yes. Yeah.
I found a workbook for that. I don't know how I found it. And you're right, writing those goals down, it's amazing. But the book is like really, really thick. And so it's almost like defeating. How many pages is your business manifestation book?
So that's where we wanted it to be very simplistic, because remember how I said that I kind of have like that squirrel brain? It's literally like all over the place. And so I wanted it to be very truthful of, if it's something I would do, that's what I'm going to give, out to the world. And this is the reality. I think so it's 21 days of being able to address 21 different types of situations in your life. I think it's about like 60 pages long. And you have the ability to write notes in your workbook. And then
that's what I'm talking about.
The manifestation journal is 3 months worth of being able to go in every single day and writing, your goals of what you want to achieve. I think it's 3 months is what we have it for right now.
Wow. That's great. You definitely, you're going to have a sale before the week is up, because I'm going to be your next customer. But yeah, with manifestation, I definitely believe it. At first, it wasn't something that I thought that it was hokey. I thought that it was hokey. One day, you ever seen the movie Mudvayne?
I haven't, no.
Yeah, I've only watched it once. And the reason that I've only watched it once was because this guy, he was a former slave, and he was working towards getting some, I think he was working towards getting some land back, and he had already had his freedom. He was the breadwinner of his family. He broke and his leg like snapped. You can see it. It looked pretty bad. And I remember saying to my wife and saying, I can't believe that just happened. And I don't know what would happen to me if I got put in that situation. I just don't know how I would deal with that. Like, I couldn't handle that. The next day, I'm walking down the stairs and my leg snaps from my knee. Yeah, it was so bad.
Gosh.
Everybody heard it in the whole house. It was bad. But afterward, I remember laying on the floor and said, I said this yesterday. I brought this into the universe somehow. What I should have said maybe was, I think I would be able to get through that. I don't want to go through that. But
Yeah.
yeah. No, I feel like, I don't know. I've also had, different things where this past week, somebody reached out to me about a book deal. And that morning, I had just told my wife, I think I'm going to write a book. And that same day that it happened, has that ever happened to you where you're just like, where did this come from?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't happen that quick, but when I've looked back, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I literally forgot that I wrote this down and I took a picture of it and I created this. And I look back and I'm like, I literally manifested this. There was no direct line of how this was even going to happen. And suddenly all the chips have fallen in its right place and it's here and I accomplished it. And I didn't even know, like I didn't even recognize that it was happening until like not even necessarily after the fact, but once I was already knee deep in it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, and that's the power of having faith, taking the leap of faith and knowing that if you have a good intuition, a good feeling, and you're telling the universe, look, this is my goals. And I refuse to have a no for an answer. I'll give a really quick example. I have shared this on my social media, but so, one of my goals, I've never had a pool in my backyard. Growing up, I grew up in California and I grew up in the mountains, and where we lived, most people don't have pools because of the type of just the location of where it's at up in the mountains.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah,
so,
I was going to say, I thought everybody in California had a pool, but you're in the mountains, you said?
Yeah, I grew up just outside of Yosemite National Park.
Oh, okay.
I grew up there. So most people didn't have a pool where I grew up, and I always wanted a pool. And then, I went to college for a little bit, got married, obviously very early. I was 19 when I got married, obviously super poor. Then we moved to Arizona and never got a pool. I never had a pool in my backyard. And so when I, became a single parent and was like the leader of my family's life, I'm like, one day I'm going to have a pool. I want a pool, and I'm going to have a pool before my daughters graduate high school and all of this stuff, right? So we can enjoy it together. Well, my oldest daughter, she is in her senior year of high school right now. So she's going to graduate in just a few months. She's going to turn 18. And last year, I started to kind of panic. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't achieve my goal. I wanted a pool in my backyard. I was just like, oh man, of all the things. And, I had been trying to recoup everything from my loss, just over 2 years ago. And I thought to myself, how am I going to pay for this? This $45,000 pool and do the whole backyard and everything. I'm like, how am I going to pay for this? Like I'm just, we're doing great as a company, but still like we're reinvesting everything back in. And I'm like, I don't want to go into debt and do this. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And I wrote it down and I thought, I'm going to get a pool. It's going to happen. So, last year it was April of 2021. And I went in and signed a contract and said, you're going to build me a pool. Wow. And I thought, okay, I know they make the payments in certain increments. And so I said, okay, I know where the second payment is coming from, but I have no clue where the rest are coming from.
I love it.
So I'm thinking, okay, but I have time to think about this. And as it's coming, I make my first payment, I make my second payment, and I'm like, holy shit, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And our business was kind of going to, like we're reinvesting. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I got myself into this like really scary situation. I got to make my next payment for my pool. And what I did was I wrote in the notes section on my phone and I screenshotted it and I said the exact amount of how much I was going to have. And I kept it on my phone and I just was, obviously going on with my life. Suddenly, I had the money. And I had the money and had the money and had the money. And then I had even more money. And so it was like, not only did I pay for my pool, but then I had even more money than I was expecting. And It's because I literally put that goal and that desire. And I told the universe, help me achieve my goals. And so not only did I pay for a pool, I didn't go into debt, and then I have money in my savings. And I was like, thank you for following the law of manifestation and believing and putting in the hard work. But you have to take risks and you have to take these challenges and give yourself an opportunity to see, how does manifestation really work? And it's trusting that the universe is going to have your back, and you put in the work and it's going to do the work for you too.
Wow. You seem like an amazing leader. I bet you it would be like such an honor for anybody to work with you. I was wondering, when it's all said and done and you're gone, what do you want your legacy to be?
I want, outside of, I do want my children to have monetary success from me, because I've had to do everything on my own. I've never had help. I've never, lived with my family when I was a single parent for, several years. And even when we were going through our hardships, nobody has ever given me anything. Nobody's ever let me borrow anything. I've just had to do this on my own, with my husband and my family, my unit that the 6 of us here in this household. And I do want to leave them with generational wealth, because I know that it will help not just them, but then their children and so on and so forth. But the other thing that is extremely important for me to leave with my children, and it's the same thing that I had mentioned earlier, was I want to be someone that they say, I have achieved all of these great things because my mother was my example. My mother, was able to overcome and triumph over the most difficult situations. And because I watched her be able to become the success story and self-made, I know that I have the ability, and that they will then teach their children, right? And it's just going to be this generation of beautiful children who are so self-empowered, right? They are not looking for anyone else to fill their cup, so to speak. They have the ability to do that because they believe in themselves. And it starts with one person being that example and leading the way.
Wow. Wow. Oh, I love it. Oh, that was so beautiful. You're such a brilliant speaker. I wanted to tell you that. I love listening to you speak. Yeah. So I know we got the viewers and the listeners. They're probably like, you know what? How can I get the opportunity to work with Corina? Where can I follow her? I want to do something with Corina. What do you got? What do you got for them? Because they're gonna want more after they hear your story. Because I'm pretty sure I know that they're inspired, because I'm inspired.
Well, you can find me on my social media platforms, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, Corina Burton. It's pretty easy peasy finding me that way. When it comes to any of my books and my journals, you can find them at corinaburton.com. You can purchase them there. And also, we do have a lot of people who start following the journey of my company, CPR Construction Cleaning, or have been following my company since the beginning over the last 2 years. And they want to know, how can they be a part of what we call the CPR difference? Because we're not just a service-based company. We're here to make a difference and be impactful. And so people get excited about that. And the exciting part is that we are now developing, and we're right in the middle of it, creating a franchise. So this will be available to anyone nationwide right now, just in the United States. And hopefully soon we will have an international opportunity as well. The FDD will be completed at the end of February, March. And if anyone is interested and has serious interest in regards to becoming a CPR, construction cleaning franchise owner, you can find, if you go into my website, CorinaBurton.com, there is a landing page where you can put your information and I will email you back.
Awesome. You're amazing. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. I think I'm going to name this Self-Made. I like that.
Self-made. Yeah. You know what? Actually,
This stuck out to me.
I'm getting a tattoo right here. My daughter, my 18-year-old, who's going to be 18, she's like, you need to get that tattoo right here. Self-made. And I was
I love it. It's so funny. I know you said it. You said it while you were talking, but I got this feeling when you said it. I don't want to sound too weird, but when you said self-made and you're talking about your kids, I could tell that meant something to you. I don't know. I just got this weird feeling, but yeah, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You've blessed me today. I know I said we were only going to go 35 minutes. Here we are.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, you could take the blame, but it's been an honor. I mean, I can do this for an hour and a half. It's been an honor and a privilege. And again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. If there's ever anything that I can do to support you, I want you to let me know and we will make it happen.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm really honestly super honored to have the opportunity to be on your podcast and to, share some tidbits about how to become successful and how to allow your mindset to be your resource in life.
I think that's amazing. And you've helped me out a lot. I mean, just by doing this, I do it for myself. I'm over here taking notes, not notes for the show, but notes for myself. So thank you for helping and being a leader and a mentor for me. So catch us every Friday on Leaders Lead because we're going to be here every Friday. So thank you so much, Corina. And for the listeners and the viewers, if you're watching this, you're viewing this, please make sure that you've subscribed. Give us some feedback. Let us know how amazing Corina was. And thank you. Whew, that was great. If you enjoyed this podcast, well, I'm sure you enjoyed it. If you're still here with us, what I want you to do is head over to your favorite podcast and streaming network and give us a download, subscribe to the channel, and also let us know what you think about the show. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you for the things that you've done. Thank you for the things that you're doing. And especially thank you for the things that you're going to do, because I know that you're going to do something amazing.